Hello there. Welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. My name is Denise Alvarez, and I'm so glad you're joining me here today. Now, before we jump into this super practical episode I put together for you, I will briefly introduce myself in case we are new friends, and then we will jump into it. All right? So as I said, my name is Denise, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help dream-chasing horse business owners like yourself to see clearly through the marketing overwhelm so that you can create a cohesive plan for your social media, your website, and your email marketing. And those things are what's going to help you turn your online audience into your customers, right? So I do that through Take the Reins, my one-to-one coaching program, as well as through website design and copywriting. And I do each of these things so that I can help you to be out in the barn or arena or behind the camera taking pictures of horses, doing what you love, right? I want to help you do more of what you really enjoy doing, the reason that you started your business in the first place. So that's why here on the podcast, you're going to get a mix of step-by-step strategies, basic how-tos, and entrepreneurial mindset shifts to help you not only see what's possible for your business, but also to guide you through that process to make it happen. And today we are doing that by talking about creating those all-important connections with your potential customers on social media. The reason is that I often hear from people that they are posting, but they still don't see the fruit from it, or they don't know what to post, which you've talked about before. So I hear that one often as well. But today we're talking about those of you who are saying, Denise, I'm getting on social, I'm creating content, and I feel like I'm not making any connections. I'm not getting engagement. I'm not getting sales. I'm not getting messages. How do I get people to know I'm here, right? I'm posting. I'm not getting engagement. And I know that some of you probably even have thousands of followers or hundreds of followers, and yet you feel like, why am I not seeing the fruit of my efforts? And I get it. And let me just remind you of one very important thing that's going to guide this entire conversation, okay? Social media, while a great marketing tool, was originally created for the purposes of being social. So that means it was not created for us business owners to go on there and just plaster information about ourselves, about our services, about what we're doing, and then automatically expect to make sales. Now, that's what often happens, but that was not the original intent of the platform. So therefore, if you want to build those important connections, if you want to build trust, build awareness for your brand, you have got to get outside of your own bubble. Is it important to create content? Absolutely. The right content, of course. But on top of that, it is important that you get out there and engage. Get into the DMs of your right person. Get into the comments of the content that they are creating and build those connections. So that's what I want to talk about with you today. Now, before we dive into that, this is a replay of a training that I did live not too long ago. So you will notice that it sounds a little bit different because it's a replay. So let me give you that heads up. All right. And then also I want to make sure you know about a free guide that goes along with this training. So one of the things you're going to hear me talk about is hashtags. And so I want to make sure that you know that there is a free guide to hashtags for horse businesses that I have created. And you can get that very easily if you just go to stormlily.com/hashtags. Of course, I will link to that in the show notes as well. So if you went ahead to stormlily.com/113 for episode 113, I will have a link there for you also. Okay. So get your notepads handy, friend, because this episode is filled with practical tips, things that you can do starting today to build those important connections with your potential customers so that they aren't potentials, they're your actual customers. All right, so enjoy this training and I'll see you on the other side. So let's back up just a bit. All right. Why should you care about connections, right? I didn't say, how do you build followers? I said connections. And there's a reason for that. Now, we've talked, if you have not listened yet, go back and listen to the training where I talked about email marketing, because I shared some stats there with you about your reach on social media. And I'll recap those here. You can catch the replay, of course, on Facebook or YouTube. But what I want you to know is that while followers should not be your target and your aim, right? Because you don't want thousands of the wrong people following you. I do understand that your follower number, it does matter, because just for the simple fact that the more followers you have, the more potential you have for getting in front of those eyes, right? And the right people. So certainly, I think followers is something we should pay attention to. I don't think it should be your one goal and aspiration. I have definitely seen more than one account. Specifically in mind, I have a horse trainer that he has like 15,000 followers. However, if you look at, and I won't tell you who that is because I'm not here to, right? They didn't ask me to audit their account, but I'm telling you, it's a horse trainer. He's becoming well known. He has 15, maybe 20,000 followers now, but he's almost zero engagement on his profile. So if you looked at the recent posts that he has made, there's hardly any engagement. So that's why I don't want you to focus only on followers, because that's great. You have a whole bunch of followers, but if people are not engaging in your content, it's very possible they're not even seeing it. And vice versa, the more people that are engaging, the more people that are going to see it. Okay. So followers is not our only goal. That's why connection, that engagement and really connecting with people is our goal today. So that's why I want to share with you some very doable ways that you can use social media to build those relationships and to build those connections. Now, I mentioned that engaging content matters, and it does. And I'm not going to share with you today how to do that engaging content, because this is all about those connections and what you're going to proactively do. But I will tell you about an episode on my podcast that you can listen to, which is episode number 49. And it is 5 ways to grow your horse business with social media. And on that, you're going to learn specifically my content creation strategy, including the 3 R's for creating engaging content. So if you are looking for additional guidance on your content creation, that is a free resource. I will put it in the comments on Facebook at stormlily.com/49. So go ahead and mark that, because today, as I mentioned, we're talking about what you can do to build those connections outside of just posting. And here's what I want you to remember, okay? Social media is called social for a reason, all right? It's called social for a reason because it's there for you to build those important connections with people. It is not a place for you to go post and then just leave, right? Or even worse, so to speak, is to use a scheduler and never actually get in the platform, right? Using schedulers for your social media is definitely a great resource and a good thing. However, if you are never actually getting into the platform to engage with people, then you're missing the whole point, right? Just creating content and putting it out there is not going to get you the same results as if you're on there really creating those connections. Because that's what I often hear from clients and members inside of Social Stride is, Denise, I'm creating content. I'm trying to follow your guide, but it's still not working. I'm not really getting those connections built on social media. Now, of course, the first thing I do is go look at the content they're creating, and we talk about that. But then I also give them some very specific things, which I will give you today, that they can do to build those connections, to get outside of your bubble, right? So often on social media, we create and then we stay right there on our own page and our own profile. And we forget that there's a whole world out there of people that are waiting for us to come to them, right? They're not sitting there thinking, oh, I can't wait for so-and-so to post so I can go find that. They're actually doing their thing. So we need to go join them where they are and create those connections in that way, okay? So let's talk about some practical ways that you can do that. So if you have a pen and paper handy or your notes app on your phone, you're going to want this. When it's on the podcast, I always have highlights for you on my website. When we are live, you're going to be taking notes, okay? So here's the thing. You do need to create content and you need to post. We've talked about that. So what I want to give you today is, what do you do after that? Okay, after you've created your post and you're going, okay, now I don't hear anything. What do I need to do? How can I use social media to build those connections? I'm going to give you 7 very specific ways that you can do that starting today. Okay. Number 1, if you are not already on either platform, Facebook or Instagram, which is the 2 I'm going to focus on today, but of course this can apply to the other platforms. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok, other places, you can take these principles, okay? But the specific examples that I am giving you are for Instagram and Facebook, okay? Follow hashtags that are relevant to your people. If you are not already, go into your platform of choice, be signed in as your page or profile, and then go look for a relevant hashtag for what you're doing. So for example, if you're providing writing lessons, go find the hashtags that are relevant to the discipline that you are serving, right? The discipline that you teach. Go find those hashtags and then follow them, okay? What that's going to do is, when you are scrolling through your news feed, number 1, it's going to show you new pages and profiles that you may not know exist, that you can begin to follow and or engage in their content, and they're going to be your right people, most likely. You can look and see by, look at their profile, look at their name. The other thing is, after you have posted on social, go look for a hashtag and then see who's been using that hashtag recently and engage in that content. Leave a comment, right? Leave a meaningful comment, meaning it ideally more than just a couple of words, more than just great looking horse, right? Leave a meaningful comment on those pages and profile and their posts that are using that hashtag, okay? It's very specific to the discipline or the breed or, right, the area that you are serving. I want you to go in and do that. And here, there's 2 reasons. 1, ideally, those are your ideal people. Those are your potential customers and clients, and they're going to say, oh, who's that? And then going to go to your profile, see what you're doing, and then ideally start following you and building that conversation, right? Secondly, there are other people that are going to see your comment to their post. Okay, so if you are finding a hashtag that's very relevant to what you are doing, and then you comment there, then the rest of the right people that are seeing that content are going to see your comment. And again, you're just laying seeds as you go. Okay, you're just laying seeds and potential for connections. So as you leave those comments, you're building connections with the person that originally posted, and then you're laying seeds for the potential for others that are going to see your comment. Okay, so number 1 is to follow hashtags and then comment on those posts. Number 2, when someone likes your post, I want you to go to their profile and leave a comment. Now, I realize that on Facebook, sometimes this gets a little bit tricky because privacy settings on Facebook are often a little bit higher than they are on Instagram. At least that has been what I have seen and experienced when it comes to personal profiles. A lot of people still have a public profile on Instagram, but on Facebook, they've taken it to not be public. They've just kept it personal where you can't see it publicly. So as your business page, you may not be able to engage with them on Facebook, okay? On Instagram, you are more likely to do that. So when they like your post, you're going to be able to see that. Instagram and Facebook both, and the other platforms will show you who it was. Go to their profile and look for something relevant to the products and services you're providing and comment on there, okay? Again, taking that one step further to build those connections. Now, if you cannot go and leave a comment, then at least you can go and get a good feel for them and see if they're your right person and have an idea of who's following you. But ideally, you are building those connections by leaving comments on their content, okay? Okay, number 3, my third idea for you today and my third step for you in building connections is to look at your list of followers, okay? And then pick a few and then go leave a comment. So my goal for you is that all of these things that I'm giving you, you could set a time, and we'll talk about 10 or 15 minutes a day to intentionally build connections on social media, okay? So when I'm telling you to go look at your followers, if you have hundreds of followers, if you have thousands of followers, obviously, I'm not telling you to go in and, sit there for hours and do this. But what I want you to do is go to your profile, look at your list of followers, and then pick a few that seem to really be your right fit and go look at what they've been posting lately and see if there is something there again that you can engage with and build those connections. How can you comment congratulations maybe on a recent post that they did about a show that they were at, right? Or maybe they bought a new horse and you can comment about that. The opportunities are endless, right? But what I want you to do is look at your followers list. Now, why am I telling you to look at your followers list? Because they already are aware of you. They have made the choice to follow you, but that does not mean your content is always showing up in their feed. Remember, 3% of your followers are going to see your post organically. So you cannot just post and forget it. You have to actually get out there and build those connections on the platform that you are using. So I want you to look at your followers, go to their page or profile, and engage in their content. Leave a comment. Engaging is not just liking, okay? I want you to actually leave a comment so they're aware that you were there and you're taking an interest in them, okay? All right, next, same thing. Look at your followers and then go to their stories, okay? Because when you go to their stories and you reply to their stories, you actually show up in their direct messages. So it's taking another step further. It's not just a public comment on their post. You're going to show up in their messages, okay? So look at your followers, look at their stories, and look for ways that you can engage and reply to their stories, okay? That was number 4. Okay, my next simple way for you to build connections on social media is to direct message your new followers, okay? Your new connections, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. Or the other platforms, okay? Now, as I mentioned on Facebook, this gets a little bit trickier. You may end up in their message request section, which can happen on both platforms, but I have found it more often happens on Facebook. But the point is, you can still try it. Try it and let me know how it works for you on Facebook. But I will tell you on Instagram, it's a no-brainer, okay? On Instagram, it's a no-brainer. When you get a new follower, you're going to go and message them. Now, if they happen to have a private profile, you cannot message them unless they've allowed you to follow. But if they have a public profile, then you can send them a direct message, right? And just have something saved in your notes that you just copy and paste in there. Hey, Jennifer, it's so great to meet you here on Instagram. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for following me. Before you do this, go look what they've been posting. Find a point of connection, okay? Thanks for following me. I see that you follow so-and-so also. I love the way they teach. Or I see that you've been learning to jump. That's so amazing. I think that's so cool, right? Find a connection point. Mention their horse. If you see posts about their horse, you can say, I saw your horse so-and-so. He's beautiful. Find a connection point and then send them a message. And then just say, if there's anything I can do for you, please just let me know. Or if you want to continue that conversation and you have a question for them, then ask them a question. Keep it conversational. Because remember, your point here is not just selling, it's connecting. I want you to connect with your people. So as you get new followers, jump on over and send them a message. Don't just wait for them to engage with you. Don't just wait for them to leave a comment on your post. I want you to actually engage with them, okay? All right, number 6. I want you to reply to every comment on your post, okay? No matter what platform it is, when you are getting comments and you are looking to build connection, they are doing it right there, okay? I cannot tell you how many times I have seen on both platforms that I see horse trainers, lesson instructors, massage therapists, all the things, right? Service providers, product providers, all the equine industry areas. I am always just looking to see what people are doing, right? And how it's going for them, what's working well. And I can't tell you how many times I have seen pages and profiles that have comments, multiple comments, and there's not one reply. And I'm not talking about like they got 150 comments. There's no way they could reply. Now, even if you get 150, let me just tell you, at least pick five every time and be replying to those comments. Why? Because you want people to know that you are there. Again, you're not posting and leaving and never coming back. You are there to build relationships. And how do we build those relationships? Through conversations. So when you get comments on your post every single time, I want you to like it and reply. Okay. Even if it's something like, if they just say, this is great, thank you, then you can reply back. You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Or you're so welcome. I'm glad you were encouraged. Whatever it is, I want you to reply to every single comment that you get on your page or your profile. Okay. That's how you're building those connections and keeping that conversation going. Now, if you happen to use a scheduler, I encourage you to at least on your calendar, remind yourself that you made a post, and within an hour, within a couple of hours, go in and make sure that there aren't comments you need to reply to. Okay. So, or even if you have manually posted that, you probably should still go back within the next 24 hours and make sure, are there people that have commented that I need to reply back to, and keep that relationship going. Okay. All right, friends, the seventh way I have for you to build those all-important connection with your future customers is to find where your people are hanging out. Now, one way we talked about doing that is following hashtags, but I also want you to brainstorm, think about your ideal person, and then think about the pages and profiles that they may also be following that are related to what you do. Okay, so for example, perhaps you work in a particular breed or a particular discipline. There are more than likely associations that are attached to that, right? There are breed associations, there are discipline associations, and they are all creating content. And that can be a very good place for you to go in and engage and leave comments. And then your future potential customer is going to see you hanging out there. And then they're going to see your name, your business name, and then head over and check it out. So let's back up. I said your business name because I want to remind you, each of these things I am encouraging you to do, I'm encouraging you to do with your business page and profile. Now, I know for some of you, and I actually had someone on my podcast recently that said, look, my personal page is where it's at for me. And that's great. And if you choose to use your personal page that way, then you certainly can. Are there restrictions that you're going to face over time? Yes, there are. But what I'm telling you here is that when you use your business page and profile and you leave a comment, what are they seeing? They're seeing your business name. If they just see Jennifer Smith on there, that means nothing to them. You could just be another person. But when they see your business name, then their interest may be piqued if your business name is showing them what you do very easily. And then they can say, oh, I wonder what that is. Click on it, go to your page, and then start seeing what you do, right? And if you're a good fit for them. Okay, so we talked about associations. It might also be that you have local saddle clubs, or maybe you're wanting to do riding lessons, then 4-H may be a good place for you. I'm drawing a blank, but there are other farm clubs that are available, right? They may have pages and profiles where they're posting. What about your local farm and feed store? Okay. It depends. Obviously, if I was sitting in a one-to-one with you, we would be able to brainstorm more specifically where you can go. But I want to at least give you ideas to figure out what I'm talking about when I say find where your people are hanging out in a public setting and then go join them there. Of course, Facebook groups can be a very good place to do that as well. Perhaps it is local shows and events, and you can go and join them there, okay? But look for ways that you can engage with people and build those connections where they are, all right? Okay, I know that was rapid fire. I just gave you 7 simple and doable ways that you can build connections on social media with your potential customers, with your future customers. So if you have any questions about those, please let me know, right? And here's what I want you to know. You have the do's, right? You have what you need to do. So what does that look like? Okay, as I mentioned, get your calendar out. I want you to literally schedule 15 minutes. Pop it on there and call it connection time, right? I'm going to get on there. I'm not going to scroll. You have to make that promise to yourself. You're going to get on there and you're not going to be scrolling. You're getting on there with the intention of building connections. There's a big difference in that, right? You might say, Denise, I spent like 2 hours on social media and it didn't do anything for me. Well, did you go on there with an intention? Okay. So I want you to go on there intending to connect. I want you to share your expertise openly and honestly, show empathy for people, build those connections, letting them know you understand them. And then when it's appropriate, yes, sell your services. Let people know what you have available. Don't just come in there and sell all the time, right? Especially when it comes to Facebook groups, we know that there are restrictions depending on the group that you are in. But I know you're a business. And so I want to encourage you, as you're building those connections, if you have something that's going to help somebody and it's going to solve their problem, then please do give yourself permission to sell. Okay. All right. So you have all the things, you know what to do. And you're saying, Denise, I know some of these. This isn't new information to me. I appreciate the reminders, but I haven't been doing it. Well, have you had accountability? Right? That's my question to you. For many of us, for many equestrian entrepreneurs, you are a one-person, maybe two-person show, and your help is often not marketing. It's maybe bookkeeping, or maybe it's an assistant in the barn or a groom or something like that, right? But when it comes to marketing your business, it's on you. You've got to have the drive to do that, but you also sometimes need some accountability, a place that's going to help you say, hey, how's it going in this area? Are you doing this? Are you keeping to your commitment of posting 3 times a week? Are you doing stories, right? All of those things. You need a plan for what to say, how to say, when to say it, all of those things, but you also need accountability. So that is why I created Take the Reins, my one-to-one coaching program. And inside of that, I actually dedicate an entire session. One of our 90-minute intensive sessions is all about your social media marketing plan. We get very detailed and make a map of what day you're going to post, the content that's going to be covered, how you're going to sell in your business on social media. So you literally walk away from Take the Reins with your plan in place. And in our time working together, I am right there keeping you accountable as well, right? I bring the accountability, I bring the education, you bring the commitment. Because here's what I know. We all want to enjoy the fruit of our labor, right? Absolutely. Who doesn't want that? But that includes the labor. You have to be willing to do the work on social media if you want to enjoy the fruit of building connections on social media, okay? So I don't want you to feel like you have to be glued to your phone, because you absolutely do not. We will create a plan that's doable for you and allows you to be out doing what you love to do, which may not be hanging out on social media. I know that it is not for me, but I have learned how to use it as a tool to build those important connections, and I want to help you do that as well, okay? So if that is something that interests you, I would love to invite you to apply for Take the Reins. It is my personalized one-on-one coaching program for equestrian entrepreneurs who want a cohesive social media, website, and email marketing strategy, and applications are currently open. So I would love to invite you to apply. You can head to stormlily.com/reins. It's very simple, and all the information is there. So if you're thinking, Denise, I'm interested, but I'm not sure I'm ready to apply, then I would encourage you, just go to stormlily.com/reins, and you will see all of the information there of what's included, what the process looks like, who it's for, and who it's not. Because I want to be very clear that I want to make sure that it's for you. So I've made it very clear on that page so you can see, is this for me? And if it is, I would invite you to apply. Okay, friend, I hope that you are feeling so equipped and ready to start making those friendships and connections on social. Now, I know that that was a handful of things, so I want to give you 3 things that I want you to do when you get off of this podcast episode, okay? So number 1, the first thing I want you to do is go get that free guide to hashtags for horse businesses. It's going to really give you some clarity. If you've been using hashtags, it's going to help you to see if you've been using them correctly. And if you've not been using them, it's going to help you to see that they do have a purpose and they can help you in making those important connections, all right? So go to stormlily.com/hashtags and get that free guide. Secondly, I want you to schedule that engagement time on your calendar. Now that you know what to do with your time, you're going to be ready. So I want you to set a time on your calendar. And then when you do that, set yourself a timer, because it can be easy to get lost a little bit down a rabbit hole once you get started. And I want this to be very effective use of your time. So if you have a timer going, you're going to be very aware and intentional and try to avoid some of those rabbit holes that can happen once we enter the world of social media. Okay, so schedule that time. And then third, you heard me talk a bit in that live training about Take the Reins, my one-to-one coaching program. If that sounds like it may be a fit for you, I would absolutely invite you to head over to stormlily.com/reigns and go ahead and apply. You'll learn more there about the program, what's included, who it's for, and you will see a link there to apply. All right. So those are 3 things that I think are super important for you to take action from today's episode. Okay. So get that free guide, schedule your engagement time, and then check out Take the Reins. All right. Okay, friends, that's all I've got for you today. Now, again, remember that you can find a summary of today's episode over on the show notes at stormlily.com/113 for episode 113. And know this, if you have questions about what I've shared here on the podcast, or you have questions that you would love to hear answered in a future podcast episode, I love to hear from you. Feel free to shoot me an email, denise@stormlily.com, or find me on social at Storm Lily Marketing on all the places. I would love to connect with you there and to hear questions that you have that you would like me to answer here on the podcast. All right. And then I do want to make sure that you know you can get notified when there are new episodes available for this podcast. All right. So if you are not subscribed in your favorite podcast listening app, and if you're not getting my weekly emails that give you a quick note to let you know there's a new episode, I would love to do that for you. Of course, you can go to my website and get signed up for the episode notifications. And then go to your favorite listening app and make sure you hit subscribe as well. All right. Okay, friends, that truly is all I've got. I hope you have an amazing day, and I can't wait to hear the fruit that's going to come from your labor of making those intentional connections on social. I'll see you next time.